Hello everyone, I'm the Enforcer and welcome to the breaking news. Today's breaking news is that the Russian Federation has declared an evacuation of Russian armed forces inside of Crimea, a part of the air defense network, as well as their families, apparently due to Crimea being heavily compromised in the air defense, and the air defense systems that remain are going to be moved into the region of Belgorod in the near future. We were able to get news of this just a few hours ago, as the partisan movement Atesh reports that Russian armed forces air defense servicemen in Crimea have been instructed to evacuate their families to military camps in the southern military district near to Rostov-on-Don. This directive coincides with the relocation of the air defense systems to the Belgorod region, raising security concerns in occupied Crimea due to reduced coverage. Additionally, the Russian military is forming new mobile air defense teams using Gush guns to counter UAVs, indicating a strategic shift towards this area with a reduced focus on occupied Crimea. What's most important about this, however, is that it is showing that due to a movement of major air defense systems from Crimea and to areas inside of the Russian Federation, Crimea will most likely be greatly reduced in its war significance for the Russian Federation, considering that the air defense existent or required to be able to keep air forces and naval forces in Crimea safe, or hardly safe at all in reality throughout the course of the war, will not even be there to provide a minimal safety net. This means that Russian naval forces and Russian air forces will most likely be moving into the actual territory of the Russian Federation and will no longer be in Crimea in any significant number. This is a massive change in strategy, and not only that, we'll be leaving Russian forces in the area of the far western regions of the front line, such as in Kherson and in southern Zaporizhia, possibly without any real air support, or without any naval support, or even major logistical support. All of this entails that the Russian armed forces within the area of Kherson and Zaporizhia will most likely be degraded in combat quality or combat efficiency, as they will be dealing with less resources and less support than they have in the past, due to a majority of Crimean forces now being evacuated out of Crimea. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, Ukrainian ATACMS launches were conducted overnight, targeting multiple S-300 and S-400 systems along the northern area of Crimea, near to the area of Dzhankoy, Yevpatoria, and the Chornomorsk areas, which are incredibly north on the Crimean Peninsula. This attack is probably going to be one of the last attacks that we see being conducted against Russian air defense in Crimea, as with the majority of the air defense now shifting into Belgorod and the remainder of it being evacuated from the area, major surface-to-air missile defense systems like these will simply no longer be in the area to have attacks conducted on them. We will also see that for this reason, Ukrainian ATACMS attacks will start to be a little bit more limited in what they can do, and this is also showing how afraid the Russian Federation is of the ATACMS missile. This change is only coming 838 days into the war, after the Ukrainians got long-range ATACMS missiles from the United States in incredibly large numbers. Since then, we have seen that ATACMS missiles have been used to strike the ferry crossing in the Kerch Strait. They've also been used to attack major facilities inside of Crimea as well, including the air defense, logistics, and even naval forces. And we are seeing that this is a continuing effort by the Ukrainians, a missile campaign against Crimea that the Russians are largely completely helpless to stop. And now that we're seeing that there isn't really a way to stop them, it appears that the Russians are now going to be moving their systems into mainland Russia, where there is a major caveat at the moment. This is going to be helping out the Russians significantly, at least in reducing their air defense losses, because the Russian Federation knows that the United States has not given Ukraine permission to use ATACMS missiles in Russian territory. This means that as long as their air defense systems are about 40 to 50 miles away from the front lines, they will most likely be safe from Ukrainian fire, considering that the United States allows the HIMARS system be used with GMLRS ammunition, which has a range of about 50 miles, but they do not allow the ATACMS missile to currently be used on Russian territory, meaning that this is a last-ditch attempt by the Russians to save some of their air defense systems and try and create some sort of a usable air defense reserve, although there really isn't any left. Moving on from that and off the coast of Yeysk, we were able to confirm that the Russian tugboat in the area that we believed last night may have been hit was hit by drones, and we were able to see that significant damage was caused on this camera footage that was shown right here.
Правый борт. Вот он правый борт пострадал.
That's the end of that clip. But then we also got additional picture evidence showing the damage to the vessel. And we see this right here. We can actually see some of the barges that the tug was moving. We can see some damage to the offices inside of the vessel. And then finally, we can see the barge that was being transported once again. It does appear to have taken some damage. It does not look like it's sinking, but still damaged. But nevertheless, this is showing that Ukrainian drone attacks are not only targeting the Russian air defense and ground defense and also air forces inside of Crimea, they're also starting to target Russian vessel traffic within the area of the Sea of Azov, or as it's called in this area, the Taganrog Gulf. Beyond that, however, it does seem as though the Ukrainians are massively extending their drone campaigns to target anything that may be related to the Russian war effort. Meanwhile, in the area of Belgorod, we've also gotten major breaking news that one of the forward command posts of the Russian army in Shebekino has been destroyed by Ukrainian forces today. This was apparently the command post of the Russian 6th Combined Arms Army, Military Unit 31807 of the Leningrad Military District, which is once again confirming that these are lower quality forces that were just raised to be moved into the Belgorod offensive, or more so the Kharkiv offensive, and the command post was deployed at the Nezergal Recreation Center near the village of Shebekino. We can see right here in the picture evidence that it has clearly been completely destroyed. The headquarters now no longer usable, as the building it was in has now been atomized. Beyond that, however, this is something that is quite major, as a combined arms army command post is a very large command post, usually coordinating multiple efforts of multiple different units within a single area. This means that the Ukrainians most likely just hit the nucleus of the command structure of the Russian Federation within this region, which will be causing a greater deal of confusion and miscoordination or miscommunication within the area of the Vovchansk offensive, making sure that the Russians will most likely sustain even higher casualties over these next day or two, this next day or two period, because they will not be able to coordinate their efforts as well, although they hardly are coordinating them well anyways. Moving on from that and all the way out of the area of Ukraine, we also got news in North Korea that apparently there is still an ongoing diplomatic escalation at this moment in between North and South Korea. From what we understand, because the South Koreans turned on their loudspeakers, I believe, a day or two ago, the North Koreans are now setting up their own loudspeakers on their side of the border and are most likely going to be playing loud drum and bass to the South Koreans in the future. Of course, this is really just in a never-ending diplomatic tit-for-tat that's going on in the area at the moment, but nevertheless wanting to keep you all up to date on what's going on in this region. Meanwhile, we did get news that the small Russian flotilla that was traveling to Havana, Cuba, has arrived today, and we were able to get footage of the Adam Gorshkov frigate arriving within the port of Havana, along with the fast attack submarine that accompanied it. The Russian propaganda has made it very clear that these ships and vessels are Zircon hypersonic missile capable, which is once again trying to put diplomatic pressure on the United States and make it seem that the southeastern region of the United States, where the enforcer headquarters is under jeopardy. This is nothing more than political maneuvering, or really diplomatic maneuvering. I wouldn't really expect much to come of this, but nevertheless, the Russians are attempting to create a tense situation within the Gulf of Mexico. Moving on from that news, that is all of the major news that we have today. I've got to thank every single one of y'all so much once again for watching. If y'all did enjoy, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and support us on Patreon, link in the description below. And of course, I thank you all once again for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.